Hi, and welcome to episode 10 of the Neurodivergent podcast. My name's Janice Jones, and I'm your host. And today I'm going to be talking about my SHINE framework for coaching when I'm working with neurodivergent coachees. The reason why I developed SHINE, and I'll go into what it actually means in a minute, but the reason why I developed it is because when I work with neurodivergent individuals, one of the things that I see all the time and really clearly is poor self-care. And that could look like not getting enough sleep. It could look like forgetting to drink or eat throughout the day. It could look like not showering or anything to do with self-care, not taking enough breaks throughout the day. And when I work with my clients and also encourage my associate coaches when they work with their clients to have at least as a basic underlying framework, the SHINE framework, in order to support people to improve their self-care, improve their well-being. It can have really positive effects on emotional health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health. So it's a really basic framework, but it's actually quite advanced in terms of how it supports the individual to improve self-care and then improve all those other things. It's not the be all and end all of everything that we do in a coaching session, but it is a great foundation, somewhere to start, because what we clearly see as neurodiversity coaches, and also in my own life, is that when self-care improves, everything else can improve. The executive functions can improve. Mental health can improve. Relationships can improve. Productivity can improve. So many different things can improve when basic self-care is improved itself. So what is the SHINE framework? So the first letter, the S, stands for sleep, but it's not just about sleep. It's also about different types of rest. So how many hours sleep are you getting a night? Hopefully it's somewhere between 6 at a minimum, preferably 7 to 9, or even 7 to 8, something like that. What time are you going to bed regularly? What time are you getting up regularly? I've studied many sleep studies, and most of them say if you can have a regular bedtime and a regular time that you wake up, certainly for me, it's about 5 in the summer because the light wakes me up and I just know that I've had enough sleep. But in the winter, it could be, 6, half 6, something like that. What is your bedtime routine? So are you on your phone scrolling all the time, right up until the point that your eyes give up and you fall asleep? So you're basically like really exhausted before you can get to sleep. Or have you got a really good bedtime routine that helps you to down-regulate, to get to the point where you're then ready to go to sleep? So things like having a bath, but not too hot a bath, because if it's too hot, it's enervating, and you want it medium temperature. You don't want it too cold, because again, that'll wake you up, but medium temperature, not too hot, not too cold. You might want to put some magnesium flakes in the bath. You might want some chamomile tea, or some other type of herbal tea that is for down regulation. You might want to do some meditation or a yoga nidra. You might want to read. Preferably, you will have stopped being on some sort of a screen at least an hour before you head to bed. If you are reading something, try not to read something that's really exciting. You want things that are quite boring in a way that your brain can just go, oh, yeah, I've had enough. I can go to sleep now. So things like that. Have a bedtime routine. Have a usual sleep pattern and sleep time. And then in the morning, we can talk about different types of routines that you can have for the morning. Keep your room cool, dark. It's hard in the UK at the moment. It's been really, really hot for the UK, 30 odd degrees in the daytime. And then, of an evening, it's not cooling down quickly. Sleep is foundational and it's so important. It is so important. The next part of it is the H, which is for hydration. So are you the type of person that's drinking caffeinated drinks like Red Bull or something similar? Are you a type that is drinking espressos all day or black coffee? Or are you a tea person? If you're, or any kind of carbonated drink like any of the colas, Fantas, and all of those sorts, they're not really counted in terms of water, hydration. You actually need, all of us need somewhere, if we're adult, average height, weight, we need about 2 to 3 litres of water a day. Now, it could also be made up of herbal teas, not smoothies. Squash, yes, especially if it's, like a cordial type squash, so quite pure in what's in there. That can count towards your 2 to 3 litres. But any caffeinated drink is going to not count towards the 2 to 3 litres because they are not hydrating. They're the opposite of that. They're actually dehydrating. So think about, and one of the things I always say to my clients is, have your water right next to you. I always keep a clear pint of water next to me because I want to drink out of glass. I like water coming out of a glass rather than plastic. And I always want to have it topped up. So as soon as I've drunk this one, I would get up and go and make sure I've got another glass of water there. If I have to think about it, I'm not going to remember to do it and I'm not going to get up. And it also means if I'm drinking water regularly throughout the day, I am going to get up from my desk more often because I'm going to have to go to the loo, which is a good thing because I'm not just sitting there hour after hour after hour. Why is hydration so important? Our brains really need water. They desperately need water. A lot of people, by the time you're reaching for something to drink because you're thinking, I think I'm a bit thirsty, you're usually well more dehydrated than you think you are. So we need to be drinking water throughout the day, not because we think we're thirsty, because by that time you're very thirsty, but because it's there, it's in front of us, and we know that our brains and bodies need 2 to 3 litres a day. And rather than leave it to your memory or have to make the choice about it, always just have it there. And then you can take a drink. And just talking about it means I need to take a drink. So I'm going to take a quick drink. Okay. Hydration, really, really important for both the brain and the body. The I is for interest. So when I talk about interest, it's not just for ADHDers who need interest in order to have the stimulation that our brain needs so that we produce dopamine and norepinephrine. I mean, it's for all neurodivergents. So interest could be, if I have to do something, a report that I really don't want to do, you could try doing something, some research that you are interested in. Give yourself a time scale, 20 minutes. I'm just going to do that for 20 minutes so that I've had a bit of interest, and then I'm going to go and do that thing that I don't want to do, but I've had some interest, so now my brain's a lot happier, and then I can go and do the other thing. So that's one way that interest is important. Another way interest is important is because it's good to have ideas around goals. It's good to have ideas around what lights us up, which areas of our lives help us to get to that place of flow where time ceases to exist, where we are in the moment, where we are not in that default mode network with that really busy brain. We are just able to focus on what's in front of us. When we're interested in something, we're much more able to get to that place. And interest can also take you towards meaning and purpose, because if you are interested in growth, in connection, in making a difference to other people, then that's of interest to you. Therefore, that's one of your interests. So, having meaning and purpose around your interest can also be really beneficial to our well-being. Okay, the N is about nurturing. So we've had sleep, we've had hydration, we've had interest, and now we're at nurturing. Now, nurturing can be anything from making sure that we are eating good food, food that feeds us all the nutrients that we need. It could be, instead of having some scratchy clothing on you, you have something like I've got on at the moment, something that actually feels nice to the touch and to wear. It could be that you have a favourite blanket that when you're watching TV, you can just wrap around you and it feels really soft. That's all nurturing. Resting when you're tired, or before you get to the point of burnout and exhaustion, having a nap, resting. What nurturing things could you do? It could be going for a walk. I had a wonderful walk at lunchtime today. I could have just gone, oh, I've got this work to do. But that's nurturing for me, because I move out of my space indoors. I go out and I'm in nature. I'm walking next to water. I can see all the birds and hear the birds, and it's just beautiful. It reminds me about perspective, about, yes, I might have that deadline or that thing to do, but actually I'm a human being, not just a human doing. So that nurturing piece for neurodivergence is so important, because sometimes we can really drive ourselves too much and too far. We need that nurturing bit, which is keep asking ourselves, what do I need? Am I tired? Am I thirsty? Am I hungry? If I'm hungry, what am I hungry for? Do I need a break? Do I need a walk? Do I need some company? Do I need to completely unplug and just read something? Do I need to do a yoga nidra? What is it that I need to help me nurture myself? Nurturing is really important. And then lastly, the E is for energy. I see so many people when they first come to me, whether they are ADHD or ADHD or autistic, who are close to or in burnout. By the time you get to burnout, you have not paid attention to your energy over a fairly long period of time. It could be cyclical burnout where you're fine for a bit, then you do too much, and then you fall off a cliff again with burnout. It could be the first time that you've experienced burnout. It could be that you've been working really, really hard and there was a big project on with certain deadlines, and you've used too much energy for too long. That means you haven't been taking enough breaks. You haven't had enough sleep. Your stress levels have been allowed to rise and rise and rise to the point that you can no longer cope with what's in front of you. It affects your physical, mental, emotional well-being. We need to look after our energy and to really know, where am I? Am I heading towards burnout? For me, it's always on my right side. If my throat suddenly feels like the gland is starting to be painful, I know that's my first thing that I'm going, that's a sign that if I carried on going and didn't reset then and take a few days off or a few hours off or whatever it is that I need, then I would be heading towards burnout. So get to know your own body. What are your signs and symptoms that are always there before you reach that point of exhaustion, before you fall off that cliff with your energy, before you get to burnout? What are the things that you can start to notice so that you don't get to that point? And in terms of energy as well, are you walking? Are you running or jogging? Are you going to the gym? Are you doing meditation? Are you doing yoga, tai chi, qigong, any of those things? Just stretching, weights. What are you doing to move your energy when you have got the energy to do something physical? Because this is the first period in time, really throughout our history, where we have literally become like sloths, right? Where we don't move hour after hour and day after day. We are chained to our desks or the sofa or whatever it is. We actually do need to move our body, and doing that actually gives us energy. So when we do something physical, unless it's a marathon or something, and then you're exhausted, but we do need to move our bodies. So think about your energy, both in terms of what you're putting into your body, in terms of food, water, things like that, nutrients. And also, what are you doing with your body to create energy or to move the energy? And what are you doing to rest your body when that is the thing that you need to rest? And it's not just resting your body, it's resting your brain, resting your mind. Every choice we have to make uses up some of our cognitive capacity. So that's why I'm saying have the water next to you. Then I don't have to make that choice. It's already there. What can you do in terms of simplifying? If you get up at a similar time and you go to bed at a similar time, then there are less choices for you. Have you got a morning routine that we call primes your day? So it primes you to have a good day. So that could be meditation, it could be prayer, it could be walking, stretching, yoga, it could be any of those things. I love to read something uplifting in the morning, before I get into the phone or looking at anything. Reading something uplifting, listening to something uplifting, doing a meditation, any of those things prime your day. Moving your body after you've done those things. Making sure that you drink about half a pint of water when you wake up, because you will be dehydrated because you've just gone 8 hours, whatever it is that you've been asleep, without taking on any water. So really think about your energy. And last time in the podcast, I talked about the social battery. Remember that, if you are autistic, being around lots of people can be very draining. So your energy, you're going to get your energy back more on the whole from silence, from being on your own, from doing something quietly like reading. Whereas somebody who is out and out ADHD, you might get energized by being around people, by being in groups of people. If you're ADHD like me, I can get energized by being around people for a short space of time, and then I have to retreat and have alone time and quiet time. So find out for you what gives you energy, what takes away your energy. And I include people there as well. There are some people that you will be around who are what we call drainers. If they have to be in your life for some reason, try and limit the amount of time that you spend with drainers, because it really does pull your energy down. Try and spend more time with energizers. So people that compliment you, that listen to you, that are emotionally present for you, people who are empathetic, people who really value what you do. These are all energizers. Whereas people who criticize or moan or always talking about negative things from, say, the news or whatever, please don't watch the news. Try not to watch the news. Certainly not last thing at night or first thing in the morning. If you're going to watch the news, do it, slightly later in the day. Be aware of who you spend time with, because it really matters. It really matters. We have to look after and prioritize our sleep and rest, our hydration. Make sure that we have some interest, meaning, purpose in our lives. The nurturing around, what do I need? What does thriving look like to you? And then energy. Look after your energy and spend it wisely. I hope you've got something out of this podcast. This is episode 10, and I look forward to seeing you again. This is Janice Jones, which is support at Janice with a double N, Jones.com. If you want to get in touch, or www.janicejones.com. That's Janice with a double N. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.